The Fix is in. The Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement. GVArtwork.com.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE. It's that simple. Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby. Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, the Sports Fix on social media. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE. Join the Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hey Cleveland, this is Anderson Varejão of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You are listening to the Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
Welcome in. Mic's on. We're hot. We're live, off and running here. Thursday edition of the Sports Fix. Welcome back, you guys, by the way. We were here yesterday taking care of some business and back here again today. You know what? Unfortunately, that's not going to be the first time that's going to happen. Matter of fact, probably a week from today, we may go without a show there. I'm going to attempt to work it out with the Cavaliers to see if perhaps potentially I could broadcast from Media Day, but there's a lot of media outlets and obligations that go and supersede the Sports Fix. I'm not foolhardy enough not to know that, so I don't know if I can do that. But Media Day is happening right in the middle of us doing our thing here, so next Thursday may end up being a casualty of that. We'll have to see. We've got a week here to figure that out. We'll see what we can get worked out. Ideally, I'd love to be able, like I said, to just broadcast from there, but we'll see. Well, regardless, that's ahead, but no show yesterday, so we're back here today. We've got a lot to talk about. Thursdays are always busy. They got just that much busier by us doing our thing here, not being here yesterday. So, hey, man, let's do the Sports Fix thing. What do you think? Does that work for you? Works for me, too. Let's rock and roll. Welcome in, you guys, to the Sports Fix. J-Rock, Jerry Myers here, welcoming you in, opening our virtual doors to each and every one of you across the Sports Fix radio network, whether you're listening, whether that means you're on TuneIn, TuneIn's radio app worldwide, whether you listen to us and enjoy the show on the sportsfix.net directly, perhaps you stream us on Mixler, Spreaker, and their respective mobile apps as well. And of course, thousands of you around the world don't listen live, but on digital delay 24 hours a day in literally 24 different time zones on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider, on Stitcher Radio and SoundCloud and the CarPlay format and all the different places you guys subscribe to us or download us or get us delivered to your device. Thank you so much for being here once again. As I said, Thursdays, things are already chock full here on Thursdays as it is. Kendall Lewis, the BSK, 10 minutes from now on the nose. I'm going to make sure of it this week. He's supposed to join us here. I say supposed to. I just got to make sure that the technology is with us today, baby. But Kendall Lewis, the BSK, with us at 12:15 here as we open up things. Talking to him, we'll talk about the Browns, his thoughts on the Saints and his reaction. First chance to catch up with him about that. We'll look ahead. Baltimore coming into town, what he thinks as the old Browns and the new Browns. And I'll tell you, I'm just going to throw this out here now. We're going to talk about it later, but I 100% agree. And I like that one of the first things that Mike Pettin said yesterday is, you know, just like we say, you got to compartmentalize the losses. You got to do the same thing with the wins. And the first thing I told this team is the team that you're about to face on Sunday is easily, no disrespect to the Saints or to the Steelers, easily the toughest team you ever faced. And while, yes, some of that is what you have to say, a lot of that is true. Baltimore, stiff challenge. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. Kendall Lewis, the BSK, joins us 10 minutes from now. Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com. Going to have some fun with him today because he's gonna get frustrated with me today because, hey, since the last time that we said that the Indians need to keep winning and win them all, so far they have. Okay, I know we're only talking about 2 games, but you can only win the games that you've had a chance to play. So far, so good on this thing, and here they sit, 5 games back, and the only truly sucking in, encouraging, where you just can't let go, even if you're, well, some of you have let go, but for the rest of you, it's that Kansas City, the fact that you've got 99% of one game and 3 more. You literally can control 4 of those 5 games yourself. Still leaves a lot to chance, still leaves a lot that you've got to have happen with other teams, but it's there. It's sitting there, and we're going to talk about it. Indians here looking to finish this series that should have been a sweep. Very difficult to win 4 games in a row from the same team on the road, and as we've seen here, they bounce back. Carlos Carrasco, man, what a performance last night. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? No, where in the world has this Carlos Carrasco been? That's all I'm saying, guys. I mean, we've watched him emerge little by little, but it might have taken a while, but I don't care. If this is what you get on the tail end, I dare you to say that trade wasn't a winner for the Indians. I mean, I don't want to get too cocky just yet, but man, with every one of these starts, you can get a little cockier. Last night, went out there and took care of business against everybody not named Altuve. See what happens if you don't let anybody else beat you. If you just contain the damage to Altuve, most of the time you can beat Houston there, man. I saw he's got 200 hits. But real quick, I don't know if you guys heard that stat when they were talking about his 200th hit the other day. Hammy made mention that the last Indian, and I guess you just don't even realize this until it gets pointed out to you, last Indian to have 200 hits in a season, Kenny Lofton, back in 96. Like, it's just 200 hit, you just kind of take for granted. You're like, wow, it's really been 20 years since we've had somebody get 200 hits in a season, man. I mean, I didn't even realize it until he said that, and then it dawned on me. I said, man, he's right. Wow, it's just, one of those things you don't even realize till it's pointed out there. But, yeah, the reason Altuve's got him is because nobody else over there did. But, hey, Indians now on the verge of taking 3 out of 4 in that. We will talk all of those things, all things Tribe, with Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com. BJ Rudell, it's Thursday, 1:30, deep in the heart of Hour 2. BJ will be with us. Fantasy Football for Winners, which is you and you and you, but that... I don't think that's me. We'll talk about that. If you're one, you may feel my pain today, some of you, because in the last few days, I've come to the ugly realization that, yeah, I can tweak things. I can maybe help pull a little bit of this out of the abyss, but I may have the worst collection of fantasy stiffs that I've ever had in my time of playing fantasy football. That's all I'm going to say. Bunch of stiffs, man. I mean, I got a couple of studs, but not enough to hold it up. Man, I need a lot of people to get hurt, and I don't like rooting for people to get hurt. So that's where fantasy football messes with my football watching. But we'll talk about that. If you're in the boat with me, BJ, as he told me on Twitter yesterday, you're only one player away from a turnaround. My team may test that theory here. BJ Rudell, Fantasy Football for Winners. It's coming up, and you know what that means. That's who's joining us today. They're being a part of the show. You be a part of the show. Pick up the phone. Give us a call. You can't do it now. Phones are going to be busy, but when they're open, be ready to let those fingers do the walking. 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. If you can't get to the phones, or if we're being all shady with the phone lines like we are right now, then hit us up on Facebook and Twitter and email and say, hey, man, quit being shisty with the phone lines. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Email us, TheSportsFix at AOL.com. Like I said, I want to hear from you. You guys you're not just the voice, you're the heart and the soul and the conscience. You're the Jiminy Cricket of the Sports Fix. And so be a part of the show, you guys. Stay in touch with us 24/7 and let me know your thoughts on all the things we're talking about. Real quick, just a couple of asides before we hit into this break, because I want to make sure and kick things off here with Kendall Lewis. Make sure that we don't have any miscommunications on the phone connection or anything. But a couple of little notes in the news here. You know what? Thinking back to the last time we were on the air with Dr. Football there, I told you guys, wasn't a chance in the world Adrian Peterson by the end of this week was not back on the sidelines for the Vikings, and bam, took no hesitation at all. The minute you start hearing Nike and look, I knew once Radisson is pulling their thing literally, not literally, but figuratively, as Spielman's on the day is speaking, they're taking that Radisson as fast as they can down from behind him. But once Nike started pulling the stuff and pulling the jerseys and all that, I said, yeah, this. And the governor says no way he should play, and then just one thing after another. They were foolish in making that short-sighted decision to put him back out there anyway. And it looks, even if it's not true, and I don't believe this, I believe it is true, when you get rolled 30-7 and the main offensive threat of your team is in jeopardy here, but you can lay on the whole and we're going to let the due process play itself out. Yeah, you can bet that's why they're rushing Adrian Peterson back. And that was a big miscalculation on their part. And you just wonder. I mean, look, I'm not. Some of you may think I'm intelligent. Some of you don't. Some of you listen to laugh at me. Some of you like what I say. But I'm not a genius here. And yet some of these things that these guys do just is dead common sense to me, that you don't do it and that it doesn't make sense and that you didn't need a genius to point these things out to you, man. And that was one of them. Like, why would you even mess with that boat, especially with the tide and everything going the way it's going right now? Speaking of Jonathan Dwyer, and there's another one. I mean, not that you're looking to time your domestic violence and your aggravated assaults and things, but boy, man, these guys getting caught doing these things while the spotlight is red hot. If there's going to be people that are the first ones to feel the brunt of this, and you should, you guys are them. Just a whole lot of continued stupidity going on. Josh Gordon, he'll be back. You want to talk about stupidity? Not the fact that they finally, after 4 years, may have finished this drug deal, but drug policy deal. Otherwise, it sounds like they're selling bags on the corner. But the drug policy deal may have been wrapped up. But what's so stupid is the whole Josh Gordon part of it. Like every part of his punishment is like a half of this one and a half of this one. We'll take part of last year's rules and part of this year's rules and mix them together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, so Josh Gordon got caught last year, but we're going to give him this year's suspension, but it's going to count as last year's number 4 on the policy. And with the DUI, we're going to let him plead guilty and get it out of the way under last year's rules, even though we're giving him this year's rules for the drug test. We're giving him last year's rules for the DUI so that we don't have to add 2 more games. I'm like, man, you look, just stand up and just be honest. Just go, look, this thing's all screwed up, and we just thought this may be the best way to fix it. We made this stuff up, really. Like, we literally flipped coins and just said, okay, here's how we're going to decide this. We drew straws, and we said, okay, Josh Gordon, 10 games sounds good enough, because it just doesn't make sense the way that they went about doing it. But as far as I'm hearing, that's why we mentioned yesterday Josh Gordon hurrying up and getting things out of the way. That the reason why is because the DUI cases that are wrapped up before November will be punished under last year's rules, even though the other stuff is punished under this year's. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. But that's what I mean. They should just say, look, not all of this makes sense, and we understand that. We're doing the best we can. I mean, at least people go, hey, I can respect honesty. They straight up told us this isn't perfect. We're just like going to make this as fair as we can, and moving forward, the rules are cut and dry. But instead, they're like just going, well, here's what we decided. There's no rhyme or reason for it. Regardless, Josh Gordon will now miss 10 games of the season, apparently, and that should be it. However, there is some ambiguity, whereas the league can give him another game. And here's just an interesting aside. Josh Gordon, if he plays 5 or less games this season will not count off of his contract, which means he will owe the Browns 2 more full seasons